There are places that function as scars on the landscape, monuments to what was lost when entire communities vanished overnight. In Japan, a nation of gleaming cities and technological prowess, over 9 million abandoned structures called Akiya tell a counter-narrative. These aren't just empty buildings. They're vessels of memory, archives of forgotten lives, waiting in profound silence. We often think of ghosts as residue of a single death. But what happens when an entire town dies? What spiritual echo remains when thousands of lives are uprooted in unison? When the very reason for a place's existence is extinguished overnight? Hokkaido, Japan's rugged northern frontier, became the engine of 20th century modernization. Its coal-rich mountains were tunneled by armies of workers powering the nation's ambition. The Mitsubishi Yuubetsu Coal Mine, established in the early 1900s, was one of the most formidable operations, supporting thousands of workers in this remote, unforgiving landscape. The company built an entire town around the mine, dense housing and a large, modern hospital to service the community. But life in the mines was a brutal calculus. The work was backbreaking and extraordinarily dangerous. Gas explosions, tunnel collapses, and underground floods were constant terrors. The official records are clinical, but the human cost was staggering. Miners were routinely brought to the surface with crushed limbs, lungs destroyed by coal dust, or worse. The hospital became a place of desperate, often futile battles for life. It was where the mountain's human price was tallied in blood and broken bone. Then, in the 1970s, following a series of devastating accidents and the global shift away from coal, the industry collapsed. The company simply left. Within months, thousands of workers and their families abandoned their homes, scattering across Japan in search of new livelihoods. The town of Yuubetsu died almost overnight. Today, the mine site is an industrial graveyard being slowly reclaimed by the forest. Rusted machinery sits half-buried in moss. The rows of workers' houses have been reduced to skeletal frames. But the epicenter of the site's paranormal lore is the hospital. A hollowed-out concrete carcass that was once the last stop for broken bodies dragged from the earth. Deep in the forest surrounding the ruins, there is a moss-covered memorial stone. It's a quiet, solemn marker erected by the families of those who died in the mine. A physical acknowledgement of lives lost to the mountain's hunger. The stone bears the Shinto concept of yama-no-kami, the mountain god, a deity both revered and feared in Japanese culture. The mountain gives, but it also takes. And according to local belief, the mountain never truly releases what it has claimed. The spirits of those who died violently in its depths are said to be bound to the location, unable to move on, forever trapped in the moment of their suffering. The hospital itself is a ruin in the truest sense. Its walls are streaked with water damage and black mold. Floors have collapsed into the rooms below. Surgical theaters, once sterile and clinical, are now choked with debris and the detritus of decay. Yet despite, or perhaps because of, its state of utter abandonment, it has become a magnet for paranormal investigators and urban explorers. The reports from this place are consistent and deeply unsettling. Visitors describe an immediate, oppressive sense of dread upon entering, a feeling of being watched from the empty doorways and shattered windows. Many have reported hearing disembodied screams echoing through the empty wards. Not the faint, ambiguous sounds that can be dismissed as wind or settling structure, but clear, agonized human cries that seem to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. There are accounts of phantom lights seen flickering in the windows of the upper floors at night, despite the building having no power for decades. Some investigators, using highly sensitive audio equipment, claim to have captured faint, disembodied whispers in the surgical wing. Fragments of last words, perhaps, like kurushi, meaning it's painful, and modorenai, meaning I can't go back. One particularly chilling piece of evidence comes from thermal imaging. Multiple teams have documented inexplicable cold spots in specific rooms, areas where the temperature drops dramatically and suddenly, with no logical environmental cause. These cold spots are often concentrated in the former emergency room and the area that once housed the morgue, places where death was not an occasional visitor, but a constant, grim presence. Inextricably linked to the mine that loomed nearby. When the coal industry died in the early 1970s, the economic heart of Bibai stopped beating. The families left in a mass exodus, seeking work elsewhere. In March 1974, just 15 years after its celebrated opening, the school closed its doors forever. One of the circular buildings was demolished. The other was simply left to decay. Today, the structure is a hollowed-out concrete shell, a modern ruin that looks more like an abandoned coliseum than a place of learning. Its most defining feature, and the source of its strangest legends, is its acoustics. The perfectly circular hallways create a disorienting, whispering echo. Every footstep, every gust of wind through a broken window, every falling piece of plaster is amplified and distorted, seeming to chase you as you walk. It is this unique feature that lies at the heart of the school's central legend, that the round walls have not just echoed sound, but have trapped the very memories of the children who once learned and played here. I had to test this myself. Standing in the absolute center of the building, surrounded by 3 stories of curved concrete, the silence was oppressive, the kind of quiet that makes your ears ring. I hit record and waited. It is said that if you stand in the absolute center of the building, in complete and total silence, and record the air itself, playback will reveal what the human ear alone cannot perceive. You might hear the faint, sing-song melody of a forgotten nursery rhyme, or more chillingly, the rhythmic chant of Kagome Kagome. For those unfamiliar, This is a traditional Japanese children's game. A circle of kids surrounding one blindfolded child in the center, all singing together. The song ends with a question. Who is behind you now? Now imagine hearing that question echo through these empty halls. Imagine standing in the center of this circular building, alone, and hearing children's voices ask, "Who is behind you now?" This auditory residue is sometimes reportedly accompanied by more direct, physical phenomena. Explorers have documented small rocks or pieces of debris being thrown from the doorways of empty classrooms, not falling, but thrown, with clear trajectory and force. The rocks land at your feet, as if a child is trying to get your attention from a classroom you know is empty. An act that hangs in the air, its intention unnervingly unclear. Is it a playful gesture, a lonely spirit wanting to play a game? Or is it a stern warning to leave their space? The energy of a ruined mine is heavy and dark, a place of adult pain. But the ghost of a school, a place of bright, unfulfilled potential, feels fundamentally wrong. The echoes of those children are still bouncing off these curved walls, forever playing in a school with no classes, forever asking the same question. Who is behind you now? Childhood ghosts echo differently. They're not vengeful, they're unfinished. From the ghosts of industry and community in Hokkaido, we turn to a different and perhaps more unsettling form of tragedy. Our final location is not a ruin in the traditional sense. It is fully functional, a piece of modern engineering integrated into the daily life of a bustling city. This is not a story of a town that died, but of a place where people come to die. The sorrow here is not historical, a memory of a past event. It is ongoing and relentless, a wound that never scabs over. We are going to the Yagiyama Bridge. A word of caution. The subject of this next section is sensitive. If you or anyone you know is struggling, resources for help are available in the description. The Yagiyama Bridge in Sendai is, by day, an unremarkable commuter bridge. It's a concrete and steel artery that does its job, spanning the deep, densely wooded Tatsunokuchi Gorge and connecting residential areas to the city center. Thousands of cars cross it every day. At night, however, it assumes a different, terrible identity. For decades, it has been one of Japan's most infamous suicide hotspots, a place that has drawn desperate people to its edge. The exact number of lives lost here is not a figure that is publicly recorded, but the problem became so severe that the city was forced to take drastic, visually arresting measures. They erected towering, 2-meter-high steel fences along the entire length of the bridge. These fences curve inward at the top and are lined with barbed wire, designed to make climbing them almost impossible. These fences now serve as a grim, permanent testament to the bridge's reputation, transforming what was once an open crossing into a cage. This constant, intimate proximity to death, memorialized by the very structure of the bridge itself, has saturated the location with dark legends. Locals speak of a woman in a white dress, always appearing at the same spot, the 47-meter mark, where the gorge drops deepest. She stands motionless, facing outward toward the darkness, and vanishes the moment headlights sweep across her. Others, particularly late-night drivers, tell of a ghostly, smiling boy who appears directly in their path, causing them to swerve violently and lose control. There is even a chilling piece of modern folklore about a phantom bus that will stop for those walking the bridge alone at night, a bus with no destination listed, that promises to take them to the other side. Paranormal investigators and psychics who have visited this place have reported an immediate and overwhelming sense of dread and an oppressive, crushing sadness. One famously was quoted as saying he would never go there again, that the weight of the sorrow was unbearable. Urban explorers using thermal cameras have documented bizarre, hand-shaped cold spots on the fence itself, patches of metal significantly colder than the surrounding structure, as if marking the last point of contact between a person and this world. Perhaps most disturbingly, however, are the accounts of those who have used highly sensitive parabolic microphones to listen to the gorge far below. Over the lonely, natural sound of the wind moving through the trees, they claim to have captured something else entirely. The unmistakable, heartbreaking sound of a woman sobbing, an auditory echo of pure despair rising from the absolute blackness. The energy here is not reported as aggressive or angry, like that of a vengeful spirit. It is described as one of pure, unadulterated sadness that clings to the air. The bridge is a wound on the landscape, and it is still bleeding. 3 locations. 3 distinct forms of memory etched into the Japanese landscape. The Yuubetsu mine is a vessel for the ghosts of industry, a stark chronicle of the human price of progress and the violent death of a town built for a single purpose. Its haunting is the echo of labor, pain, and a community erased by economic change. The Round Schoolhouse is the ghost of a community's future, a monument to childhood potential that was extinguished almost as soon as it began. Its haunting is the residue of youthful promise, trapped in a cycle of what might have been. But the Yagiyama Bridge is something else entirely. It is not a memory of the past. It is a repository for ongoing human despair. It is a place where the tragedy is not a closed chapter, but a continuing story. A sadness so potent and so frequently renewed that it feels as though it has permanently saturated the environment itself. The paranormal phenomena reported at these sites, the disembodied voices, the inexplicable temperature drops, the sounds rising from the darkness, are the language of that memory. Whether one accepts them as objective proof of spirits is secondary to the fact that the stories themselves are real. The tragedy that fuels them is real. In these forgotten corners and sorrowful landmarks of Japan, the past is never truly past. It is there, in the rust of the mine's surgical tools, in the curved walls still echoing children's games, in the cold steel of a bridge's cage, waiting for someone to listen. These stories from Japan reveal universal truths about how tragedy saturates place. But every culture has its own scars on the landscape, its own haunted ruins and sorrowful landmarks. This is what Horror Across Borders is all about. We've explored Japan's cursed locations, and next week, Korea's most terrifying urban legends, the ones whispered about, but almost never explained. To join this global journey into the world's most haunted places and spaces, subscribe now. Our next investigation drops every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time or 11 a.m. London time.